Welcome to Sparking Everyday Discipleship, where we disciple parents to disciple their children with everyday discipleship every day. I'm your host, Terrie Hellard-Brown, and we're so glad you decided to spend some time with us today. We have a very special guest. It's her first time on the show, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Gina Romero. She's a new author, has her first book out called Welcome Home, and it's about hospitality from the heart. And this is something so needed in our culture today. We are hungry for connection, for helping raise up this next generation to follow Christ and to understand the joy and the mission and the calling of homemaking and blessing our families. So I can't wait for you to hear all she has to share with us today and to check out her website. All the links are in the show notes. I know you're going to be blessed by what Gina shares. So let's join the conversation. Hi, I'm so happy you're here with us today, and I want to welcome our guest. This is Gina Romero. Gina, thank you for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, it's my distinct honor and privilege. Thank you very much for having me on, Terrie.
Well, we've been talking a little off camera, and I'm just so excited about what God is doing in your life and what you're teaching and what you're showing on your social media and in your book and everything is such a needed thing in our culture today. And that is reawakening the ministry of hospitality and making our homes a haven for families. And tell us about your heart. What prompted you to start this mission?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that one's an easy one. I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. Then that's probably for the best. I was leaving church. It was Sunday, May 4th of this year. And it was the second time in my life that God had spoken to me while on the physical grounds of my church, like on holy ground. God has talked to me at other times in my life, but this one was just, we were driving in the car and it was just, do this, write this, call it this, dedicate it to this. The book is dedicated to the reader, but that wasn't like my idea. Like I just listened and followed. So it made things very easy in that sense. And then it just poured out of me. I worked really hard. I burned the candle at both ends. I probably crammed into, a half a year period of time, what would take a normal person a year or a year and a half to do. It's because of God and it's for God. And so that is why I wrote the book, Welcome Home, A Guide to Homemaking from the Heart. The hardest part, I think, was just finding the time to actually let it pour out of me because I do have young
Mhm.
kids. And so there were a lot of late nights and early mornings and nap time, crunch time, working and things like that. So that's how we're here today.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I love it because I've written several books, and there's a difference when God is just pouring it out and you're just writing as fast as you can. And then the ones that you're like birthing, and it's a lot of hard work, and those
Yeah.
definitely take longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
We learn through both experiences, but I think this is amazing. And it's like you said, you've hit the ground running big time with this book because it just launched, right? When did it come out?
Yeah, it came out on Sunday, the 21st of September. So I have a funny story about that. My first reader was the one that let me know that the book was live and on Amazon and that she had just bought a copy of the book. I had not yet seen the book. My
Oh,
publisher had not yet seen the book. The distributor released Welcome Home early. We were thinking about an October 1st release. So I had a horrible sleepless night and got on the phone with my publisher right away in the morning. And he said, I've actually never, and he's been doing this for decades, a wonderful Christian guy, Mike with Advantage Books. I've never had this conversation with an author before, you know? So God's timing is not our timing. It took me a
that's
solid 48 to 72 hours to calm down after that because I'm so exposed. My work is out there. I've never written from my heart before. I've written a lot for work and spoken for work and things like that. But for this, for me to talk about real things, and my things and provide tips and tricks. You're opening yourself up for people to look at your work. And so God is hilarious. He has just shown me, he has met like my unfaithfulness with so much grace and mercy and provision. So I'm like, I am not worthy. I believe, but help my unbelief.
Yeah, that's amazing, though. Well, what challenges do you think your readers face, and how does your book speak to
Yeah.
those challenges?
Yeah, so the book is written for, roughly generally speaking, the millennial age wife and mother, but any hardworking wife and mom that has kids under her roof is who this book is written for. Man, we are in it. Like, there is nothing like motherhood. I have been a professional my whole life, and I have had wicked hard corporate America jobs and done lots of different things that have been challenging with work, but nothing could have prepared me for what motherhood was all about. My foray into motherhood was just kind of horrific, actually. My daughter had to be born 3 months early, was
Oh,
hospitalized at 26 weeks with her. I made it strapped to a bed, mind you. I
mm,
made it to 27 weeks, and then she had to be taken by emergency C-section, and then she was in the NICU for 90 days. She was born at 1 pound and 11 inches. So, having her discharged, she was a medical patient and an infant. It was a trial by fire. It was kind of, you know, I'm a yapper and I'm kind of at a loss for words in terms of how difficult it was. But I think that when you have pressure, you make diamonds.
mm.
So I think that the diamond coming out of that is this ministry that, once I kind of wrapped my head around it, I was like, okay, I get it, God. At least it's this that he's asked me to do, to minister to wives and mothers of this present generation and to talk about things like the Proverbs 31 woman. And how do we navigate that when we're professionals and mothers? And what is that balance like? Because it's unique to this generation. We spent our 20s dating and educating ourselves and growing our careers, and then all of a sudden everybody wishes you well after your wedding, and then like it's like, oh my gosh, you're cleaning, you need to know how to clean epic messes, all of this stuff. So it's God, it's just God that has gotten us to where we are today. Sometimes you have days where you're like, did everyone survive today? Okay, all right, then we're doing good.
So, are you a stay-at-home mom now with your kids?
No, I'm still a working professional. Yeah.
Okay. So your book obviously then appeals to both the stay-at-home mom and the professional mom, because we still want our homes to be welcoming, right?
Yeah.
And I think it seemed to me, and you can disagree with me if you want, but it seems to me that we lost something during COVID. We lost that
Mm,
sense of community, that sense of having people in our home and spending time with people. And I feel like your book is kind of God's tool to revive that in this generation.
oh,
And I'm excited for that. I think it's so needed. And we're missing out on so many blessings by forsaking that, even though it can be
yeah.
scary at times with germs and all that, and with our busy
Yeah.
schedules. So, what is your philosophy, I guess I should say, or how do you look at the ministry of hospitality? Because when you talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, you talk about
Mhm.
Martha Stewart, hospitality, and these kinds of things, our brains
Yeah.
automatically go to perfection. We want perfect
Yes.
homes. So,
Yeah.
speak to that. How do you handle that with your young mom? What would you say to
Yeah.
her?
Yeah. Well, hospitality is about the heart. So when you're coming at it with a full heart, a whole heart, that's really all you need. I think that it's important for us to realize that the things that we see on Pinterest or Instagram, those emblems of perfection are so crafted and
Mm.
manufactured. It's wild as I've gotten into this process myself, because interestingly enough, in the year 2025, it's not good enough to just be an author. You need to co sell your book and participate actively in the process of rattling bushes and getting your message out there. So I have delved into that world and that reality. And I mean, unless you are making a job or a legit side hustle out of that, like maybe you're homeschooling your kids, but you're like in a program where they go in to a facility like twice a week. I have a couple girlfriends that do that and stuff. And then you have 8 hours in your day that you're just making content and setting up your ring light and filming and all of that. I mean, that's what that kind of thing takes. So that's why I use the term manufactured. And I don't know, maybe even applicable is the term over manufactured, because my things don't look like that, but my things look amazing. It's just that to see any kind of picture of, say, like a dinner, an entree, a meatloaf, a clean kitchen, a beautiful wreath, takes a team of multiple professionals to create that, and then to, I don't know if this is the right term, but like mediate it, to digitize it, to get it out to where it looks good. Like a picture of a meatloaf takes a team of 6 people to make happen. You've got your chef, you've got your food stylist, you've got your food stylist assistant, you've got your food photographers, you're in a test kitchen somewhere, or their influencers are renting homes that are gorgeous model homes to do all of this out of. And that's what I think like the world is into, and what this book, Welcome Home, A Guide to Homemaking from the Heart, is all about is the Christian concept behind hospitality and behind welcoming. And the Bible has so much to say about it. And I even titled one of my chapters in this way, because there's a lot of scripture that ties into doing this, but Jesus talks about simple and humble things like offering someone a
Mhm.
glass of water. So a suggestion I make for busy moms, because I was at a life group meeting the other night, and a mom had to bring her 3-month-old baby with her, and it's moms of young kids. And she changes the baby's diaper. And then another girl says, "Oh, you have some spit up on your shoulder. I don't know if that's new or not." And she looks and she's like, "No, it's new." She takes the used diaper and just without a thought tries to wipe it off of her shoulder. And like, that's like what we're dealing with. So for those moms, I say, you know what? Hospitality does not have to be grandiose. I do recommend investing in, see, a nice pitcher and nice goblets. That way you're not going to your family's every day, been through the dishwasher a million times, cups and glassware, but just to offer someone a nice glass of water, that's
Mm.
hospitality. And Jesus even talks about it. So let's start there and go from there. Yeah. Substance over style, maybe.
Yeah, oh, that's good. I
Yeah.
like that. Well, and it's so true. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say also in the book, it is intended to be inspirational and aspirational. I am a student of my craft, admittedly so. As a hardworking wife and mom, you can't know everything about everything. And so
Mhm.
this book is intended to kind of put the home together. It's 8 chapters, everything from home and garage organization to in the kitchen with recipes and cooking from the book and things like that. But yeah, we need to just be aware that what we're getting is a lot of manufactured imagery. And so we can delight and honor the Lord with our first ministry, which is to our own homes, and find meaning in that and joy in that without being Pinterest perfect.
Yeah. And maybe not as bad as the nailed it pictures either. Maybe somewhere in between.
I know. Yeah. But I will say they're kind of setting those guys up for a fall, because you're doing very detailed construction work. It's architecture at that point. I had an undergrad paid for some of my college education by running a small bespoke cake business out of my kitchen. And so I know what goes into those kinds of architectural marvels. And, if you take a look at my book or on my website, welcomehomebygina.com, and you look at some of my pictures and things like that, you'll see that they're elevated and they're gorgeous and they're lovely. They don't have fireworks shooting from them, but you'll be able to keep it on the plate, unlike some of these ones that are falling over on the show.
Well, and that's what I love about your ministry and what I know of your website and book and everything is, like you said, we're talking about hospitality from the heart and having that spirit in your home and that attitude in your heart. And yet you do give us something to aspire to. You do give us the beautiful tablescape. And if we have the ability and the time and can do that, you're helping us know how to do that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, if we
Yeah.
don't have time for that and we're just welcoming people in, that's valuable too. And I love that you don't discount that, but that you celebrate it. And I think that's
That's
amazing.
a great perspective. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very open about how the sausage is made, if you will. There are times in my writing with recipes and things like that, I say, hey, for example, breaking down making a trifle, which is a dessert from kind of the turn of the century that you put into a pedestaled glass bowl. And I mean, I got mine at like an estate sale or at the thrift store for like 7.99, but it's gorgeous. And so you make a trifle with like fruit and fresh whipped cream and pound cake. So I have the recipe for the pound cake, but I'm like, you know what? If you don't have time to make the pound cake, that's okay. Go get the loaf that they
Yeah.
make in the bakery section of your grocery store. You cut that baby up, you slice some strawberries, and you're out the door, because sometimes maybe our taxes are due and we have to deal with that. Maybe someone's having a health situation in our family and we're not able to do things to the level that we would like to see them done, but we can still put forth that effort. And when we do that, it's as though we're doing it unto the Lord. I think that in my life, when I have been called to walk in line on the path of sanctification and discipleship, anytime that I can tie in God's will to it and the fact that that's what my Heavenly Father wants for me and is asking me to do, that makes it a little easier for me to make that happen. And so for wives and mothers to know that hospitality and the Proverbs 31 woman, are those tenets in that passage, are things that we should be considering in our daily life. Let's try. Let's shoot for the moon and land among the stars.
Yeah, that's good. And the other thing with the Proverbs 31 woman, the thing that I didn't realize when I was younger and reading it is this is about a woman's whole life. This is not
Mm,
a day in the life of perfection. This is a
yeah.
whole woman's life. And the Jewish readers knew that because they've grown up with it more than we have. And I have a Jewish friend who explained that to me. And I'm like, well, of course. She said, you look at your 4 year old, your 5 year old, they're not going to rise up and praise you and call you blessed. It's your grown children who now have their children and they're going, oh, mom, you were amazing. Thank you for helping prepare me. So it's
Mhm,
showing her whole life. And so I think that
mhm.
helps take some
Yeah.
of the pressure off as well. Yes, we should be aspiring to these things and looking at what God wants us to do, even if it's in the marketplace or at home. But that doesn't mean our
Mhm.
whole life, every single day, is going to fulfill every verse in that chapter. We will burn out. We will neglect our
Yeah.
children in order to do all the things. And so we've got to find the right thing. Well, I wanted to ask you because we talk a lot about discipling children. How do we disciple our children? So, what pointers would you give to young moms who are wanting to help their children learn to be good hosts, be hospitable
Mm,
with people in their home? What would you tell a
mhm.
young mom?
Well, I think that it's important to know, first of all, to kind of set expectations. I was listening to a mom talk the other day about how her expectations are so high. She said, I'm trying not to have high expectations, but to my 9-year-old daughter, they seem really, really high. She's more laissez faire and she's just not, I want a clean room and this and that. And so I would say, come together with a common understanding of expectations first. And what I mean by that is know your kid, know what they are going to be most likely to latch on to and not. And you can even have the conversation with them about it. That way you can set your own expectations. So I think that right there, that would be helpful, because I think that our children can learn these skills in a few different ways. And that's why there are so many spiritual gifts out there, because it takes all kinds of people to make a world. And so maybe the real thing to do is to teach them to look for how they can be hospitable in what they're doing. There's a relatively famous story about a hospital chief administrative officer, or head honcho in a hospital, walking the corridor, and he sees someone and he says, "Oh, what do you do here?" And he says, "I'm saving lives." And he was on the janitorial staff. The idea there is that, have you taught your kids to fish, not just given them a fish? So giving them a fish would be like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to show you how to set this table so you know how to set tables for when people come over. You can host them well." Maybe a better approach is, of these different things here, whether it's cooking or it's instructing or it's making things organized and clean, what do you think that you would like most to do? Or how do you think you could host or you could serve someone with the spirit of hospitality with whatever that particular thing is? So that's where I would go with that one. Because hospitality for my son is going to look a lot different than it would be for my daughter. With my daughter, it would be like, "All right, let's set the table. Let's work on this floral arrangement." She's 2.5 now, but I'm sure she will love to do that kind of thing. Are you kidding me? Play with roses and baby's breath with mommy. But with my son, that's going to look different. So it's probably going to look like, "Hey, how do you think that you could show hospitality to your football team? What does that look like? Oh, should we invite him over for a pizza party at the end of the season? That's cool. Do you want to do a theme? Do you want to have a small gift for everyone to thank them for coming over?" Kind of do that type of a thing. And I'm sure he would be like, "Let's have a piñata." And I'm like, "I love your hospitality, son." But there you go.
Yeah. And I was surprised. My sons loved cooking when they were little. They wanted to jump in and
Mm,
help cook. My daughters would
yeah.
rather ask people what they want to drink and serve the drink to the person and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
you never know what they're going to enjoy doing. So that's kind of fun. I like that. We were talking before we started recording that I have 3 kids on the autism spectrum. With them, and I think with a lot of other children too, when you're talking about expectations and clarifying things with them, sometimes we have to, what I call, task analyze. We have to break it apart and help them walk through the steps. And my kids, they aren't naturally hospitable because they don't pick up on social cues very well and those kinds of things. So we've had to
Yeah.
say, this is how we are a good host. When the doorbell rings, we don't sit there and wait 2 minutes to go answer the door. We go answer the door immediately. And I had to tell them
Oh,
that. They didn't realize that.
I love them.
Yeah, and then tell them to come in and have a seat because the people would come in and just stand there. And, I wanted to help have them have the people sit
Yeah.
down. So we had to talk about that. They do
Yeah.
great now, but it
That's
was a
great.
matter of teaching. Some kids, they need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love this question. You gave me some questions beforehand, and so I want to ask this one. How will your book make a difference in someone's daily life or perspective? And I think we've hit on it some, but I still would like to hear what you'd like to say with that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I am big on mindset, skill set, tool set. So it's going to start with mindset. And the mindset is that this is something that's needed. This is something that makes a difference. And this is something that is kingdom minded.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we don't even know that there is a problem, so there's that kind of proverbial, knowing there is a problem is the first step to fixing the problem, or however that goes. I'm sure that I massacred that phrase terribly. So I would say that kind of turning our attention to the fact that we should be striving as women, as Christian women, as wives and mothers. We are charged with ministry. They should give you like a t-shirt for that at the hospital or something. Like go out there now and minister to your home. So
Mhm.
ministry to our home is the first thing that we need to do. So under that umbrella concept of mindset, part of where I'm coming from with this is that my grandmother, who I included many of her recipes in my book, which is amazing because they had never been published before. And those are kind of new little gifts to the world. She had unfortunately made the error in her Christian journey of ministering more outside of the home with church choir groups and women and families related to the faith and their community than she did focusing at home. That was something that my mom raised me to be conscious of. And I do find many, many external factors pulling at my time. But then I remember and I'm encouraged by the fact that my number one ministry is to my own family. There's that. And then I think as well, the book, Welcome Home, A Guide to Homemaking from the Heart, brings together the full gamut across homemaking, everything from cleaning and care to the organization to hospitality, tablescapes in the kitchen, odds and ends like sustainable living with composting kitchen scraps. And how can you do that even in an urban environment? And I've created even a one-page guide on that. And it's a free download on my website at welcomehomebygina.com. And, when you think about the scripture that exists for these kinds of things, for cleaning, for hosting, for whatever it is, for being a good steward of our food, and not having a lot of food waste and things like that. You start to tie it into something bigger and more beautiful, and you're able to live life with greater purpose, a greater sense of purpose, I should say, more peace, more joy, and less stress because I try to meet the head and the heart in the book. And so the heart is our position and our posture as Christian wives and mothers. The head is the practical tips, the things that I'm like, okay, so now let's get to business and talk about what you're going to do when you have 2 minutes and kids are screaming and something just over boiled on the stove. What are we going to do? And I teach people systems and I teach them advice and how to do that. So again, they can do that. Just last night, a small one fell to the floor and broke open and there was juice everywhere all over my socks. And I had to go to my life group with other ladies with watermelon juice on my socks. So that kind of thing happens, but I'm cleaning it up and God is there too. God's in all those small moments. So I think I would just say mindset, skill set, tool set for how this can help make a difference.
Yeah. Mindset, I think, is the key, isn't it? The renewing of our
Mhm.
mind to recognize in those crazy watermelon moments that God really is with us and He is showing us something during each of those.
Yeah.
I remember that when I was a young mom, is every time it seemed like something silly or frustrating happened, God was teaching me something about myself and about
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
relationship. And it was just amazing stepping on a Lego, whatever it
Oh my
was.
gosh. Oh my gosh. You feel that in your soul.
Yes.
Oh my
SOUL and
gosh.
SOLE. Yes. Oh gosh. But yeah, our kids really do teach us a lot when they're little through
Oh
those
yeah.
experiences. Well, what do you hope
Yeah.
readers walk away with after finishing your book?
Yeah. I would say a mindset shift that hospitality, or rather, let me say that homemaking is not a chore, but
Mm,
it's an act of beautiful service to your family as a disciple of Christ, as an apprentice of Christ. It makes joy in those moments where otherwise you wouldn't necessarily have them because you just scrubbed a toilet, you know? But if you do it, yeah, unto the Lord and you understand the why behind it, then you are also more blessed as you're doing it and after doing it. And it's not drudgery and it's not, this laundry list of things. It's making things pleasing. And so you can, even clean with essential oils put into mixtures. I talk about that in the book, in the cleaning chapter. And so you can take pride in the ambiance you have in your home by the way that it smells. And that's simple enough to do. And there's plenty of options out there. I talk about that in the book, kind of finding one that'll be important or that'll work for you in your house. So I think I would like them to walk away with less stress, more joy, and a greater sense of peace and purpose in what they're doing every day, because it is hard. It is messy. I mean, having babies and toddlers I felt like for almost 2 years, my hands were always sticky. That was just
Yeah.
so uncomfortable for me. I'm like, I just,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
so having a little more meaning behind it will really help. Something else I'll say on that is that just since the book has launched, a new direction or directive has kind of been given to me, if you will, a zealous passion for putting pen to paper over the idea of, as millennials, thinking about our granddaughters,
Mm.
which I know is going to sound crazy to say, but there are plenty of cases in which a millennial is now a grandmother. So, who do we want to be for our granddaughters? What do we want to know for our granddaughters to be able to impart upon them, both spiritually and practically speaking? So, kind of beginning with the end in mind, you begin your mothering journey with the end in mind of generations. And just as there's generational wealth or generational sin, there's also generational skill. I think that would be really beautiful for us to think about passing on. I look at my daughter and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I look at my mom and my mother-in-law with my daughter and I'm like, wow, where do I want to be when I'm their age and I'm with my daughter's daughter? What do I want to be able to teach her? So those are some things that come to mind.
That's really awesome. It reminds me of James Dobson. I saw him
Oh,
speak
yeah.
once, and he said his father or his grandfather, I can't remember which, taught him. They prayed for 4 generations after him, and
Oh,
then his father prayed for 4 generations. And I thought, isn't that beautiful? That's what we should be thinking about too, praying for the
yeah.
coming generations and how we can influence them. And that's why I think too this book is so powerful right now, is because we were in danger of losing so much of our culture, our family culture, by letting go of homemaking and hospitality,
Mhm.
and getting
Yeah.
caught up in the rat race of our culture and the fast food of our culture. Then what are we passing on? What do we have to pass on if we don't hold on to these things?
Artificial intelligence, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, don't even go there. Oh gosh. So I think it's beautiful.
We want flowers. We want flowers and tomatoes in the garden. I'm not a
Yes.
homesteader, but I love it what people are doing nowadays. We want the Waterford crystal and the silverware.
Well, what else is on the horizon? I know you have a podcast. Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, it's Welcome Home by Gina, and it's a limited series podcast. It's on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. In each episode, I cover one of the chapters of the book. And the podcast,
Mm.
I mean, people like reach out to me from out of the blue and are like, oh my gosh, I love the podcast. Like, apparently, the podcast, Welcome Home by Gina, is where it's at. That's what they're
Yeah.
telling me. I don't know. But it was in the writing and doing of the podcast that God revealed to me that this is actually a ministry. This isn't just
Mhm.
you're writing a book and publishing a book. Like, congratulations.
Yeah.
This is here you go. Okay. Because I didn't want to be in the business of podcasting. That could
Mhm.
change. I wanted to be in the business of writing and doing all of the things that come to me that I should be doing for this work and to make this successful, to reach people and to reach the wives and mothers. In my last episode, I talk about what's coming next. So I think that for anybody that's on the go, being able to tune into those episodes. They'll get encouragement, they'll get practical tips and tricks, and all tied up with a bow under scripture and rooted in what the Bible has to tell us about that. So that's where I'm at on that. I would love to be able to speak and support other Christian women with their podcasts and things like that. But I already have an engagement to speak at a women's ministry event, and God has been flinging the doors open. So maybe being in front of people and speaking to them is something that will come out of this. But more and more, I am starting to move into the passenger seat because there's a driver of this car and it's not me. So
That's amazing.
that's where we're at. But I like podcasting. Yeah, I think it's neat.
Well, and they are so popular that I would
Hmm.
encourage you, if you do enjoy it, to keep going. But it is absolutely amazing to do a short term one. I've seen several authors do that where they just cover their book and it adds so
Yeah.
much to the book. It's like it's a bonus. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's definitely legit. But if you did decide to continue, I think there's just so much when it comes to homemaking and making a home and
Yeah.
raising kids and all of that, that you could go for years and never
Oh
run out
my
of topics.
gosh. I mean, the truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I am pouring into my Instagram. It is easy enough for me to know who needs and wants my book because it's my own demographic. But at the same time, I just think that Instagram is where a lot of the mamas are. Yeah, we're on Pinterest. Yeah, of course, there are those on TikTok and things like that. But TikTok's kind of like the generation under us.
Mhm.
Facebook is kind of the generation above us. So I've really been focused on my Instagram platform, which is Welcome Home by Gina. And I would love for anyone listening to follow and get involved in the mission and what we're doing in the ministry. So that's where I'm putting a lot of my content and things like that. And God has blessed me so greatly with not one, but two amazing Christian women to support me with marketing and social media, which I totally need. And they're in their 20s. And I'm like, oh, thank you. They'll be like, oh, grab a shot of this. And I'll be like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm a traitor to my generation, maybe because I'm not, let's whip out the camera kind of person. But I also realized that just kind of like in the parable of the talents, where there's that one who is entrusted to be the steward over the smallest amount and he buries it. I would rather that my talents and the things that I'm creating see the light of day. And so even if that means putting myself out there awkwardly because I'm not a videographer or someone that is like, ooh, camera, me,
Uh-huh.
hey, I'll do it. Anything for the cause, I will do it.
That's amazing. I love that. Bravery. Go for it.
You're brave. Oh, I'm so brave now.
Well, I have so enjoyed talking with you. And again, your book is Welcome Home, A Guide to Homemaking from the Heart. We'll have the links in the show notes. I'm sure we'll have you on again to talk some more, but I really do appreciate you coming on today and wish you all the best. I think it's amazing what God is doing.
Oh, God is amazing. Just right there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Terry. I really appreciate it. It has been a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for spending time with us today. Wasn't it great listening to Gina and what she had to share? I hope that you'll check out her website, check out her book. And we also are excited to say we have a free download in the show notes from Gina in how to help your children learn to host well, to be hospitable. What a wonderful gift that we give our children when we teach them how to connect with other people, to bless other people, and to make our homes more welcoming and have it be our whole family working together. So you'll want to be sure to download that. You'll find it in the show notes. And I just thank her for taking the time to give us that free download. If you have any questions for Gina or for me or any comments, please feel free to post those in the blog post There's a place for any comments, or on YouTube, you can write comments there as well. And as always, we ask you, please take the time, if you can, go to Spotify and give us a rating. When you rank or rate our podcast, it helps it be seen by more people, and we appreciate it so very much. Thank you for taking the time to do that. It only takes a minute. You don't have to write a review. Just put that rating in there, and that's good. But if you want to write a review, we welcome that as well. I wanted to remind you that we have several things on our website that are also free downloads you can check out on my main page, terriehellard-brown.com, and you can download those for free. You can join our coaching. We have a free session where you can see what we do with coaching, where we help families develop the family culture they really want and help homeschool families strategize with curriculum. And we help families that are dealing with discipline. Anything that is on your mind that you want to talk with other parents about, other like-minded parents who have a Christian worldview, we can come together and support each other and help each other. You can sign up for that free session, no obligation, just an opportunity to check it out. So you can do that on my website. Again, we're so thankful you're here today. And as always, we hope that you are blessed and that you feel empowered, equipped, and encouraged to disciple the children in your life with everyday discipleship every day.